So I'm going to make a new profile. Being that you have the freebie versions, you will not have the option to make a new profile. You'll have to delete the commands that show up in the list. So I'm going to make a brand new one. We're going to say create new profile. And we're going to call this shoutouts. The freebie version will not let you label anything, but it will let you create stuff. So shoutouts. There we go. Okay, so the nuts and bolts. First thing I'm going to do is tell it to stop listening to my annoying voice by hitting the headphones. I'm going to hit the gear on the bottom or the wrench on the bottom. Your audio engine, whatever place however your microphone comes in. This is your recording device, whatever your microphone is. For me, it's Studio Live 3.4. But otherwise, it'd be like your microphone input, if you're running a USB microphone, whatever, wherever your microphone is. Okay, so I don't know about you, but I like dark mode. Let's go to general. Okay, general. You do not want this to launch a Windows Start. I would highly recommend that you run this as admin if you need to launch other programs. Just letting you know for later. Yeah. So recognition, click on the recognition. Oh, here's dark mode, by the way. 1, 2, 3. Fourth from the top, fourth checkbox from the top left. There you go. Easy. Okay. All right. And the section right here, if you go back to general, the section says load profile on startup. If you have more than one profile and you want to automatically load a certain one, you can pick that. That's what that means. Okay, so under recognition, the recognition tab at the tippy top, this is where you set your microphone, Windows speech recording device. Default microphone, HyperX Quadcast S. Is that your one closest to your Pi hole? Okay, perfect. And now your audio, this is where it's going to set your audio devices. I would not have this change anything. I would just let it roll with the Windows defaults. In most cases, for streaming setup, you don't want it to make changes to your audio devices. Leave that shit alone. Okay, so your hotkeys. I have a hotkey bound where I can tell it no listen Z. So if you go to hotkeys in the tippy top, you can set a hotkey. The default is left Alt and F2. If you have a macro in a keyboard with macro buttons, you can bind it or you can just use a hotkey combination, whatever you want, but that's very handy when you're streaming. If voice attack starts firing off and you're like, shut up. Okay, so system advanced at the tippy top. And yes, you can have this emulate joysticks. All right, system advanced, and there's an option to run this as admin. Like I said, if you're going to have voice attack spawning applications for you, probably best to have it run as admin. I'll let you make whatever decisions you want to make on this one. And there we go. We just hit OK when you're done there. Yeah, for me, I used to have this set up where every time I turned the computer on, voice attack would fire off and automatically load my generic profile that said, what's Pagan doing? So I could literally walk in, turn on the computer and say, I want to play Diablo 3. And it would say, loading Diablo 3 profile. And it would shut everything down, load up Diablo 3, get everything ready to rock and roll, launch Chrome browser with YouTube music going on the side. Whatever I wanted it to do. You can do a lot of fancy stuff here. So that's where that profile comes in handy. The hotkey, I highly recommend you set a hotkey to mute this. And it may be in your best interest to set a hotkey so that you could mute Discords. Because like if you get in a situation where you don't want to tell everyone in Discord or on stream that you're, shouting out somebody, that's totally up to you. But this is one of the places you would do this. Okay. All right, so I'm going to hit cancel because nothing changed. The easiest way to add a new command is to tell voice attack to listen and then say it. So I'm going to go through that real quick. Shout out space bub. And you'll notice that I immediately told it to stop listening because I don't want a bunch of lines of text. But you notice right in here it says unrecognized, but shut out space pub. That's what it thought I said. I'm going to double click that, and it will by default start a new command. So if I double click what the program thinks I said, it's going to more quickly recognize it, and I'm going to show you how to train it. But this right here, that's what it thinks I said. And I'm going to say, hey, when this happens, I want you to do a quick input. So I find that under Other, Voice Attack Action, Quick Input. I'm going to leave that open for a second so you can follow along. And that basically says, instead of setting up a separate key press for every single button, which you could do, but it would be a pain in the ass, Quick Input is so much better. So we're going to say, be sure to visit Space Bub on his YouTube channel. We say https://youtube.com/@space_bub. Now I'm going to correct this so that space bub is spelled a little better. Okay. And I'm going to hit enter here twice. And okay. So now what that's going to do is when I say those commands, wherever my mouse cursor is clicked and the active text window is, it'll type this in. Now, there's a better way to do this, but you may have to do a little bit of finagling on it, and I'm going to show you what I mean by that. In this command here, now we're going to give a description. Space bub shoutout. Here we go. So I'm going to hit OK. Now there's a command active for shoutout space bub. As I said before, whatever window is active, it will throw that in. So if Twitch happens to be active, my Twitch chat window happens to be active, and I say this, it should do it. Shoutout space bub. There's a problem. There's a problem. What if you're in the middle of something else? Shoutout space bub. Shoutout space bub. Your text goes wherever you don't want it to, right? That could be a problem if you're a middle star citizen and you decide you're going to be like super cool and shout out somebody while you don't take your hands off the sticks. There's a fix for that. We're going to go back into this command. It says shout out space bub, and you'll know it works because it's green. And we're going to go to right in here. Send command to this target. See that little option right down in there underneath the word category? And we're going to say, not the active window. Send it to Twitch. Now, the caveat to this is you may have to adjust this. So if you're using Restream's chat client and you want to throw it in there, you would pick the appropriate window. So if I go right in here and pick this and say, okay, it doesn't matter what's active, that should still send it to the Twitch window. Shout out space bub. See how it went into Twitch immediately? Even though Twitch wasn't active. Shout out space bub. It switches the Twitch and types it right on in there. Yeah. Now the window title may change depending on your stream title. So what I would recommend you do is when you're going to start this thing up is before you go live, check your window thing here. Now see, if you're running a chat client, like for me it's easier because I'm either streaming to Twitch or I'm either streaming to YouTube and Kick. I've got Restream set up so that whatever gets said in Kick gets dumped into YouTube. So as long as I output this into Kick, Restream kicks it up and fires it across. You would say Twitch, or you would say Kick - Google Chrome. In fact, why don't we fire that up real quick and we'll find out. Let's open up Kick and we'll go to the stream dashboard. So here we go. So now voice attack, and we'll go in here. And it may not see it until we close this window down and reopen it again, because it doesn't refresh the windows automatically. So we'll hit apply, we'll hit done, and then we'll go back in here and then choose your window. Creator dashboard Kick. So you could do that. Technically, if you're using Restream, you could throw it into Kick's channel chat, and Restream will echo that. And I believe you can tell Restream to ignore certain things, like don't show stream elements and don't show Nightbot and stuff like that. So that's one way to do that. You could say active windows or just take this check mark out, but you would have to Alt-Tab to that every time. For me, that's not a big problem because I run a second computer to stream. So technically, I'm running voice attack on the streaming computer, and I just make sure that the mouse cursor is always in the chat window when I want to do this. For running a single computer setup, either you would have to Alt-Tab out of the game into your chat client, say the command, or just set it up to do this. You could also, if you wanted to really be sneaky, you notice how whenever we use this command, it switched to the Twitch window and then kicked back. You know, the Twitch window is now the active window. We can fuck with it after that. So we can say key press, Alt-Tab, and then say key press. Actually, you don't even need to do another one after that. Just one Alt-Tab. So what that means is it's going to switch to the Google Chrome window, dump that line of text in there, bang on the Enter key twice, and then Alt-Tab, which should switch you back to your game. So if we've set this up properly, now that should switch back to whatever the previous window was. So let's make sure we're listening. Shout out SpaceBub. I saw it Alt-Tab, but it didn't actually do anything. We may have Alt-Tab too quick. It may have been too fast for it. So we're going to say hold down. Actually, we're going to cheat on this. We're going to delete this guy, and we're going to say key. We're going to press and hold Alt. And now we're going to say press and release Tab. And then we're going to say key press, release key, Alt. So now it should press and hold down the left Alt, press the Tab key once, and then let go of Alt. That should be a nice, quicker way to do this. So let's test that keystroke combination. That should work. Shout out SpaceBub. It's just too fast for Windows to realize it. We're going to have to tweak that a little bit. So push down and hold, that's fine. How about we change this to 0.5 seconds? Or even 0.6, that ought to work. There we are. Shout out SpaceBub. Oh, it's actually doing it, but Windows just doesn't want to. You see that? Shout out SpaceBub. Shout out SpaceBub. Yeah, for whatever reason, Windows just does not want to switch over. It's showing it in the window. Okay. We can tweak that. All right, so that is a real quick shout out for one person. We can get very, very sophisticated with this. Shout out Scarred Citizen. Shout out Scarred Citizen. Chat All-Star System. Oh my god. I need to retrain this. I had to reinstall voice attack, so I need to retrain this. Shout out Scarred Citizen. All right, and we're going to do the same thing here. We're going to say Scarred Citizen SO. I'm going to say okay here, and I am going to cheat because I'm a cheating son of a bitch. Yes, I am. We can copy that whole command. We can say copy all of that. So I want to right click. I'm going to say copy. I'm going to close down that one, open up this one, right click and paste, and just make a small little change. Please check out and I highly recommend you change these so each one is a little different because it seems better. And like, I mean, if they all say, "Go visit Space Bub," "Go visit Scarred Citizen," "Go visit Jack Axton," I mean, if they're a little personalized, it's better. On YouTube, and right in here, we'll make this say what it needs to say. And there are some very fancy ways we can do this. If you guys want, we'll cover this. All right, shout out Scarred Citizen. We're good. We're going to hit apply. We're going to hit done. Shout out Scarred Citizen. See, now that worked. Quick input. Here we go. Well, shit, we didn't have a window open. Send command to this target. Active window. We're going to say send it to Kick. Shout out Scarred Citizen. Okay. Okay, so that's how we set this up. I'm going to go through real quick, tell it to stop listening. We hit the gear and go to utilities, and there's an option to train it. Add and remove. See the speech engine training. I need to rerun all of that. I'm not going to bore you with 4 paragraphs of text. We're going to add and remove dictionary terms. Going to add. Shout out. Shout out. Nice. That should work better. Let's add a new word. Bub. Nice. Cool. That should work better now. Now it should recognize those better. Shout out Space Bub. Cool. Shout out Scarred Citizen. Shout out Scarred Citizen. Looky there, Scarred, it works finally. Okay. So that's very, very simple shout out commands. The downside of doing it this way is that you would have a separate command for every separate channel. Now, you could also get really fancy with this. Say the SpaceBub option here. You could say, please, be sure to visit SpaceBub on his YouTube channel, blah, 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 or his Twitch stream at blah, 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 blah. You can put whatever you want in there. I think the character limit's like 800 and something letters. Yeah. Yeah. So you can make this very sophisticated. You could do the, obviously, I would do the same thing for Scarred Citizen. I'd say, check out Scarred Citizen on his YouTube channel, or if you're on Kick, go here.